Shel C from Paper Rock Studio, and today I'm sharing with you a mixed media canvas for the hashtag Love Summer Art Creative Arts Collaboration. This is my third video that I've made for this event, and I'm really having fun. I was looking for something that was a kid's project and for summer, and I came across these little flip-flops, and I thought they were super cute and they would be great on a mixed media canvas. So I decided to print them out and use them. I will put the link below so that you can find them as well if you'd like to make some flip-flops. And then I started to draw my design on my canvas, and I was drawing and then decided that what I really needed to do was draw it on paper. So you'll see me switch to paper really soon. Because I'm just going to put paint all over this and I wouldn't be able to see it anyway. So what's the point of drawing it right on the canvas? Silly, silly, silly. So here we go. There it is. This is a little scene by the pool. A lot of people think that you wear flip-flops when you go to the beach. Here in Arizona, we don't have a whole lot of beach, like as in none. So we have pools because it's very, very hot here and we like to get in the water. And so I was thinking of other things that I might have if I was by the pool. And I thought of some other little items like suntan lotion and sunglasses and a towel. And then I've got my little swoosh on the canvas there. That's the edge of the pool. So these things are sitting on the deck and I must have gotten into the pool at this point. So I drew them on the paper and then I cut them all out so that I could lay them out and make sure that everything was proportionate and that it looked good on the canvas and fit properly the way it should. And then I set those aside and start to work on the background of the canvas. Now I'm going to use some DecoArt fluid acrylic paints. What is that, you say? Well, these paints are for mixed media and they're extremely highly pigmented, but they're liquid. They're not thick like a heavy body type of acrylic. They're fluid. That's why they're called fluid. But they're not craft paints because they have a really high pigment load. Doesn't necessarily mean they're opaque. Some of them are translucent, but they really, I mean, a little teeny tiny drop goes a whole heck of a long way with these. And I like them. I think they're cool. So I decided to use them on this project, and I will link the colors below for you so that you know which colors I use, because they're the artist colors, you know, the weird ones like Quinacrodone and, you know, alizarin and all those weird words. So I want pool colors in the pool area, of course, and then deck colors in the deck area. So I'll be doing that. And also I'm doing the sides of the canvas because I want this to just be able to be hung up. You know, put a tack in the wall and stick it up. That's what I like to do with my canvases. Even if they're collage or whatever, I do it all the way over the edges. So if I go off frame a little bit, it's because I'm picking up the canvas and doing the sides and being all crazy. So that's just how I do it. So once that part is dry, then I'm going to go over to the other side and slap on some paint on that one. Why do I slap the paint on there so much? You know what? This is a white canvas, and white canvases, they're intimidating. So the best thing to do when that white canvas is staring at you saying, "You can't color me, I'm a canvas." You know what? Slap some paint on that. It'll shut up right away. And you can get on with your project. So I just kind of go side up, side up, side up, just like that with a 1-inch flat brush. And I'm just getting the color on there. This is only the first layer. No stress. These are the colors that are going to be in the project, and I want them on the canvas. That's all there is to it. I recommend everybody does it. It's fun. Of course, it's not as fast as this. This is sped up 4 times fast, but it's fast. So once I get done with this, I'm going to add more marks, and you'll be seeing me doing that soon after I let this dry, I think. Oh, I decided I needed a darker color in there too because there wasn't quite enough dark. So I had to get my burnt sienna, put that in a little bit. Oh, I know what I'm going to do next. I remember. Okay, slapped my color on there. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of visual texture and push the pattern back a little bit because it's a very definite pattern using some white gesso and my 2-inch brayer. And I just kind of slap it on there. I mean, it's not precise. I'm not being particularly careful. I just am getting a little bit of white on there and going around the edges too, because you got to do that on the edges too, just to, I don't know, flatten it out a little bit. Then I've got some stencils and some stamps for mark making, and I'm going to start out with the stencils. This is a bubble one. Can't remember who makes it. I think it might be, no, I don't know. I definitely don't know. If I'd known I was supposed to know these things, I would have kept all the packaging, I guess, so that I could look. But this is the stencil that I have. That's all I can say. Now, the decking on my pool in my backyard, our pool, is called PebbleTech. And it's a surface with all these little teeny tiny multicolored pebbles, like river rock type pebbles. There's you know, yellow ones and brown ones and gray ones and even some that are kind of bluish and purplish. And they're all kind of circular and they're sealed into some type of an epoxy or something. So the mark making that I'm doing is generally circular because I'm trying to make a PebbleTech look because that's what I'm used to for pools. Of course, it has some cracks and some other stuff in it too, so I don't strictly stick to circular things, but mostly, pretty much, circular mark making. Of course, that one's a burlap, but, you know, I say something and then I do something else. It's how I roll. So, what you might not have noticed, oh, I'm moving to stamping now. One tricky little thing about stamping is you got to put your hand underneath the canvas when you're in the center or anywhere that the wood isn't, because the marks won't come out very good if you don't. So that's why I'm going off frame, because I got my hand underneath the canvas so that I can stamp with it. So I'm sticking to the colors that I put in the background. I'm not adding anything except for neutrals, and the neutrals are white and black. So I'm adding a little bit of white and a little bit of black, but every other color that I'm stenciling or stamping is the ones that I painted into the background already. I'm not adding any new color. And all these stamps are from Stampin' Up, but they're probably all discontinued. They're old. They're just ones that I grabbed out of my stack of tons of Stampin' Up stamps. I used to be a Stampin' Up demonstrator. I was for 10 years, so I have a lot of stamps. But they're all old. And this one is kind of a leaf branch thing, but I thought it would look cool in the pool. You know how the pool sometimes ripples and makes like a ripply line. I thought it looked kind of like that, so I picked it. And stamping on the edges as well. That one's a bubble, like a circle. I thought there might be bubbles in the pool. So you guys might be thinking to yourself that this looks pretty crazy, but trust me, it works out in the end. I do want to tell you that there are 2 videos for this mixed media canvas, and when you get to the end of this one, there will be a little link that pops up in the upper right hand corner that says go to the next video. I have a personal limitation of 20 minutes to my videos. I don't make them longer than that because I have no patience, and so I assume no one else has patience either. So it'll just link you to the next one, and I'll also put that link in the description down below, as well as the printable of the flip-flops and the colors that I used on this project. That would be in the See More box down there below. Still stamping, I think. Yeah, that one's hard to see. I think that's a scribble, like a scribble, crayon scribble stamp type situation. Oh yes, and now for the pop of black. Something about adding black makes all the other colors stand out more. I don't know if it's psychological or if it's how your visual cortex works. I don't really know. But you will hear lots of people say it's time to add the pop of black. A black accent, I don't know. Pop of black. One person in particular says that a lot, and so that's kind of what I'm thinking of when I'm saying it. Okay, there's my pop of black. Oh, and I did want to point out how I'm applying that paint to stamps. I use a 1-inch foam brush and I just pat it on very gently, pat, 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 to get it on to the stamp. And of course now I'm splattering, you can see that. But the reason that I do that is because it doesn't get the paint down into the crevices of the stamp as much. And since you really need to clean a rubber stamp if you put acrylic paint on it, if you don't, the rubbery stuff in the acrylic sticks to the rubbery stuff of the stamp, and you've just got a big mess. So I like to do it that way so that I don't get a bunch of paint all like squooshed down into my rubber of my stamps. Works out really well. Okay, so that is now set aside to dry. It's got its splatters and everything, and it's drying. And I'm going back to my little focal images that I'm going to put on my canvas. And I'm drawing in the lines of my illustrations with a black pen. These are the Pitt pens from Faber Castell. They're the assorted set that has all the different line weights that you can use for illustrations. They're permanent, so when I go over them with other wet media, it won't be a problem. And I'm going to use the medium and the small tip. The small tip for the fine lines on the insides of things, and then the medium tip to try to go around the edges. It's tricky to go make a black line around an edge of something you've already cut out, but I did want to cut them out so that I could see my layout. So I'm just working with it. The flip-flops, of course, already have their black line because they're a printout, so I didn't have to go over those. And there's my sunglasses. So the next thing I'm going to do is start adding color to these. Now these don't have any gesso, they're not sealed, nothing. So when I go to use some markers, you'll see me using some markers, and these are the Pitt Pitt markers, brush style, artist Pitt pens from Faber Castell. They are India ink, so they're permanent again, which is what I want for my mixed media, because I know I'm going to be putting layers and layers of junk on top of stuff. But because I didn't seal the paper, the colors are looking very, very scratchy, and the paper is absorbing the ink instantly and making it splotchy. So this is just really my first layer of color. I just want to get something on there, and I'll be going over them again in other ways as I go along. So that's what I'm doing. I'm coloring with Pitt pens. If you're enjoying this video and you think it's valuable, please subscribe to my channel, like it, comment. If you leave me a comment, I know you're there. And all those things help me with my YouTube channel by letting YouTube know that I'm making something valuable that somebody might want to see. And then they'll suggest it to someone else. So if you can do all those things, that would be great. So with the flip-flops, I first color the little pieces. Then I realize that that's not going to work out very well. And so I end up cutting them apart. You'll see me do that later. Now I set aside the markers because I'm going to color my towel, and I'm thinking to myself, that would take me forever to color that with markers. So I decided to get out my India inks that are more like paints. These behave a lot like a watercolor paint, but they're permanent. They're India ink, so I decided to use those to color my towel. And this is one of those beach layout towels, like for people who lay out in the sun, that has like sewn together two sides. One side's a stripy and the other side's a solid. So the solid is rolled on the inside, and then it has that little bias tape around the edges to sew the two sections together. That's what I was going for when I drew it. And I'm sticking all with the same colors to make the whole thing look harmonious, and that is yellow, orange, magenta, and teal. So those are the colors I'll be using on everything that I am coloring, including my towel. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it does. There's the little edge of my towel that sews the two pieces together, but you can see the orange part is rolled up on the inside, and then the stripy part is on the outside. I actually have a towel very similar to this, and that's what I was thinking of when I drew it. It has more pattern on it, but it's those colors and that type of a style. So now I'm going to cut my flip-flops apart, and I'm sorry that I'm off frame because I have it pulled close to me so that I can see. But you can tell now that it is what I'm doing, is cutting them apart. And then I realize I'm out of frame, and I try to get back in frame and then go back out of frame again. So yeah. And I'm going to get some of those fluid acrylics and paint. So this video is about to end, and you will be moving on to the next one. So I will see you there. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.